I say you can guarantee customer satisfaction, but the only way you do that is by recognizing the issues that your customers are going to have. And if you could identify those in advance, then you can solve. It's almost like solving the problem before it
Yeah.
happened, right? Put those fixes in place so that those customers hopefully will never experience those things because you've done the homework of thinking it through and fixing it before it actually happens.
Welcome, everyone, to Right on the Money, the podcast dedicated to inspiring businesses to overcome their obstacles, grow their business, and lead greatly. I'm your host, Janae K. Wright, joined as always by my co-host, Deshaun White. Today, we're talking to Chris Bryan, CEO of Bryan Service Companies, about the importance of customer service across various business sectors. You might be surprised to learn that exceptional customer service isn't limited to just retail stores and restaurants. It's a fundamental aspect of success for all businesses. Customer service is the lifeblood of any business, regardless of its size or its industry. It's not merely a department within an organization. It's the foundation of building strong customer relationships, fostering brand loyalty. Exceptional customer service goes beyond addressing inquiries and resolving issues. It creates positive experiences, leaves lasting impressions, and can significantly impact a company's reputation. I'm really excited to get into this topic today.
Born in Kingston, Jamaica, Chris migrated to the U.S. in 1982 and attended Cornell University, where he began his studies for an engineering degree. Chris completed his degree in mechanical engineering at Rochester Institute of Technology. After graduating, Chris joined General Electric's manufacturing management program, where he mastered the principles of quality engineering and obtained his Six Sigma Green Belt certification. Many of the principles, concepts, tools, and problem-solving techniques that he learned during that time have become the foundation upon which Chris has built his 20-plus career in manufacturing, quality engineer, and quality management. Chris continued his career in manufacturing and quality engineering at one of the largest manufacturers in the world of prestige beauty products, holding several positions managing various quality assurance groups. He then went to work with the supplier quality assurance team. It was here that Chris gained vast experience in working with factories across the US, Canada, and Europe to ensure compliance with federal regulations for the manufacture of cosmetics and over-the-counter drugs. Chris's background in engineering, management, quality engineering, and his entrepreneurial spirit led him to develop a consulting business where he provides clients with processes, products, and services that improve customer satisfaction and increase revenues. His personal mission, building better communities through customer satisfaction, was the impetus for developing his consulting business, Customer Satisfaction Services.
Last and certainly not least, in today's CEO Deep Dive, we're tapping into Chris's book and e-learning course. Both aim to help CEOs embed customer service into their organization's culture. So stick with us for the whole way through. Chris, welcome. Welcome to Right on the Money. I'm happy that you're here, man.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, one of the way I started, I was going to say my career, but it's not my career. The way I started working, right? I started at Best Buy and not Best Buy, Blockbuster, and working at a diner in Brooklyn, working at Kenny Shoes, right? These are all the foundations of how I learned customer service. And
Mm-hmm.
as I started my career and started working with consulting firms and working with other small businesses, I realized that there's an essential part of what they taught me, right, that I can carry over into how I deal with my clients and deal with my customers, because
Yes.
is that need versus want situation, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely.
So in your experience, and I didn't know you were Six Sigma. That's awesome. I think that's a really great way of introducing how this works. Now, tell me a little bit about how you do it. What is customer service to you?
To me, customer service is really, it's so interesting. Many companies, one of my pet peeves, they like to I call it spew out, these little sayings. Oh, the customer is always right, or how much
Yes.
we value customer service. But when you really dig into it, there's not a lot of substance there. It's just a saying, right? Just if you were to probe them or talk to them for even 5 minutes, there's nothing really behind it. And for me, customer service is one of the bedrock, the foundational, business principles. And every business owner will tell you how important it is. But like I said, it's not about what you say, but it's what is behind your sayings. If I were to look under the hood in your company, right, am I going to see it written into your policies, into your procedures? If I talk to your employees, so you could quickly understand how deep that goes versus just a saying on the side of your van or on your logo or something cute that you tell
But see,
people.
as a business owner, I kind of understand that premise, right? Because like for me, I feel the things that I learned at those retail shops, at the restaurant,
Hmm.
are things that I learned, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I understand how important customer service is. I understand how important the idea of professionalism, client service, what that means to me, and how it can help really foster this relationship between me and my client that builds that brand loyalty and sticking around. But how do I transfer that to my staff, right? Because these are ingrained 20 years of experience learning. How do I ingrain that in someone who has, I think Primus is a consulting firm. So
Hmm.
we hire professionals who've been working in house for other organizations for years and not really understand how to do the interaction with a client. So how do you ingrain that into someone?
Yeah. And one first thing I'd address, you mentioned something which is one of the key phrases throughout my career is transferable skills, right?
Yes.
Um, and I always say, wherever you work or whatever you're doing in life, you should be focused. Of course, we're there for the money and this and that. But one of the key things you should be getting out of any role, any job, any experience is, what are the transferable skills I can gain out of this experience? Because it's with those skills you could take anywhere. And if you're an employee, right, what you're going to gain when you learn customer service through your company, now it's something that you own, you can take to start your next business even, or your next job or whatever. So I try to focus on that. When I'm in businesses talking to the employees about customer service, I want to make sure that they recognize the value of customer service, not only to the business owner, but to them as an employee, because this is something that no one can take away from them once they learn it, and it's going to benefit them in their career
No,
going forward.
absolutely. I think I honestly think that where I am with Primus and the things that I want to do, right? I think we have a almost the same kind of tagline. My goal is, how do I really change the way small businesses are managed, right? And one of those aspects is, how do you interact with your clients, right? And one of the things that I've learned, as I said earlier, is that want versus need, right? So Kenny Shoes, I'm an old Al Bunny dude, so Kenny Shoes guy, what I learned from them was, like, if someone comes in your store, you don't ask them what they want, you ask them what the
Mhm.
occasion is, right?
Yes,
So that
yes,
way I
yes.
can now understand what you're looking for, and I can guide you where
Yep.
you need to get away from that want versus need.
Yep.
But again, though, these are learned traits,
Yep.
right? So in setting up in you going inside of a business and talking to someone about customer service, and how do you what tools do you give them to really understand how to make that happen, how to make that understanding of that want versus need with a client?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the biggest thing is, I want them to, so often as business owners, our focus is us, right?
Yeah.
How we do things, our profit, our bottom line. But I try to, and this is the difficult part, get them to take that owner hat off, put it on the side for a minute, and really look at your business from the perspective of your customer, right?
Yeah.
And I say, walk through your business now, whether it's brick and mortar, and you're physically gonna physically walk in the door. What is the first interaction with the customer? What is the process prior to them ordering? And actually physically or electronically or system wise, right? Take that walk, that journey, right? That customer journey with them, and view it from their vantage point. And then you'll be amazed at the things that you'll pick up when you're able to do that. really with the customer in mind, not the business owner hat, you'll be able to pick up so many things and then take those, and listen, this is the real world, right? Issues are going to happen. One of the things in my business, I say you can guarantee customer satisfaction, but the only way you do that is by recognizing the issues that your customers are going to have. And if you could identify those in advance, then you can solve. It's almost like solving the problem before it
Yeah.
happened, right? Put those fixes in place so that those customers hopefully will never experience those things because you've done the homework of thinking it through and fixing it actually before it actually happens.
So this is all really like the strategic planning for your organization, right? You plan out your budget, you plan out
Yep,
the product, you plan out the services. How do you
absolutely.
plan out how you interact with customers, right? I think, as you said, it's a known fact of like there's definitely several different interaction points
Yep,
of every customer coming through your business, whether, like I said, come in the door first, touch the first product,
yep,
talk to the first salesperson. All these are important, and I'll be remiss if you leave that customer service part out of it, right? And
yes, yes,
a lot of times in certain communities, the idea of what customer service is becomes a little bit of a joke, right? I started this book a long time ago because of those kind of jokes of like, you don't know you're in a
man.
authentic Caribbean restaurant unless you get cursed out by the
Yes,
owner. I
yes.
can't stand those comments, and it really hurts all of our businesses, right?
I feel like you're preaching to me. Yes. Well,
So
yes,
so
absolutely.
it's not just the business, it's not just the employee, but
Hmm.
one of the things I talk to people about is, leadership leads, right? So if
Yes,
you as a
yes.
business owner don't show that interaction and
Hmm.
show that the way that you are going to interact with every single person, including your staff,
Yep.
how do you expect your staff to do the same? How do you expect your staff to do better than you're doing if you're not showing them that way?
Yep. Listen, it is all about leadership. I mean, sometimes small business owners don't like when I say this, but I don't blame employees for poor customer service, right?
Yes.
Because even if they're doing it and they're responsible, at the end of the day, the buck stops with management, with ownership, right? And either you should know what's happening because you should be monitoring what's going on in your business, right? Or it shouldn't happen in the first place. But either way, the bottom line is leadership, and then you got to address it. So, I absolutely feel that, ultimately, and on from a then you got to train the people, right? So
Yes.
if that hasn't been put in place, how can you blame the employee for something that you cannot leave customer service simply up to great personalities or getting lucky on hiring somebody that's bubbly and nice? You can't leave it up to that. You got to have a system, a process, a training plan in place, and then ensure that people are, and I say empowered, right? Give them the tools, train them on it, and then you monitor and make sure that they're actually executing to your plan, right? So it's not about haphazardly getting good customer service. No, it's by design, building it in, writing the plan, training the people, and
Yes.
following up to make sure they're doing what the plan says, that type of thing. So
I was
absolutely.
I always felt like there was some time in history between us being young adults and growing into our adulthood. The
Hmm.
idea of customer service changed the idea of professionalism, right? As two completely separate things. And the analogy I want to use is the airline industry. I think everyone in the airline industry is extremely professional. I'm
Yes.
not sure if they understand what customer service actually means, right? So I think
Mm-hmm.
there's a part where as a professional, you're going to follow the legal rules that's set in front of you.
Hmm.
As a customer service expert, you're going to understand how to take those legal rules and understand how to make your clients satisfied and happy and getting what they need, right? So I think somehow there's a difference, right? Where do you see that difference coming up?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what I kind of, I've experienced this before where someone is saying all the right things, but you could tell they're just checking the boxes.
Yeah.
They don't have your interest at heart. Listen, the customer needs to feel like they're the most important person. That's what's going on right now, and not that you're just, oh, I'm doing my job and I'm checking off the box and this and that and the, no, I'm in front of you and in front of you right now. And if you focus on me and my needs as a customer, like you said before, with the shoe example, right? It's about how, I forgot the saying that you said, but it's, how can what am I, why did I come in the store? I came in for a reason, right?
Yeah,
No, I didn't come in to buy your product. I came in to solve a problem that I have, right? And if you
correct.
focus on that, and if you actually focus on that, you'll get more out of me because you'll be able to find out my true needs. And I'll probably get stuff at your store that I didn't even know I needed because
Correct.
you're now interested in me. Listen, what's the occasion, right? What do you need? And next thing you know, I'm walking out with more stuff than I was supposed to get in the first place. But you were interested in me and my interest, and not your job and your checklist and what you have to do. And we have to really get back to that and not just focus on, like you said, the professionalism piece of doing my job. No, just really get our businesses and our employees to be able to focus on the customer and not on themselves and their issues and their roles and their jobs and etc.
No, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the reputation part, right?
Yes.
How have you seen customer service or lack thereof customer service hurt a company?
Man, listen, once a customer, within minutes after they walk through the door, right, and they start to interact with you, they're judging, am I gonna come back? And it may not be conscious, might be
Yeah,
subconscious, but they're going to make that decision. Am I coming back to this place anymore? Right. And once they've done that and they've branded you with a bad reputation, I have an analogy that I talk about, which is that whole iceberg theory, right?
yeah,
Where in terms of complaints, and the tip of the iceberg is, small percentage of people are going to actually make a complaint, right? But under that is many. But once that person makes a complaint, it's not even about them and who they tell, but even people that didn't experience that negative situation and now going to hear about that complaint, and
yep.
they're going to go on and tell that. So
Repeat it.
and this have this iceberg, this multiplying effect. And once you get that reputation, it is very difficult to overcome that. You have to work at it with extra money thrown at it, whether it's through advertising or whatever. If you just invested that energy and that money up front in terms of preventing that issue in the first place and not getting that quote unquote bad reputation, it'll actually save you from that recovery. But it's just so important, man, to not get into that situation,
Absolutely.
especially nowadays, with social media and word just travels so fast that you want to be ahead of that. You want to be in front of it.
Now, one of the things I always look at and I always talk about is, if someone has a bad experience with your organization,
Hmm.
they're gonna tell five people.
Yes. Yeah.
Someone has a great experience with your organization, they can tell
Yeah.
one person.
One person,
Right?
right?
So that
Yep.
that
Yep.
that that
Yep.
weight doesn't work. So
Yes.
trying
It's
to
life.
get
It's
off in the
real.
front, exactly. Trying to get off in front of it is much better than trying to fix it in the end. Like you said, it'll
Yeah.
cost more to fix it in the end. So developing those kind of really solid reputation and really like being that the interaction point for most of our clients. And this podcast is built mainly for business owners, high level people. We're
Yeah.
not interacting directly in most cases with our client,
Yeah.
right? So our staff is, or people, or someone else is. If we don't understand that that person is coining or developing the reputation of your company, then
Yes.
you're gonna have a problem long down the line. And I have friends, and on the reputation side, I have friends who, as they go online to buy something, right, they search the recommendations of the bottom people. They
Mm.
don't read
Mhm.
who gives fives or
Yes.
fours. They
Yep.
read who gives
Yep.
ones or twos.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that is where we have to really work on
Yep.
how
Yep.
we are seen from people. I can't stand the analogy of perception is reality,
Yep.
but that's what it ends up being for a lot of people. Of one person perception becomes a lot of people's reality for that organization. And I think that's something that we really got to work on in every community as we work with these small business owners.
Yeah. And to piggyback on something you just said, and when I read those reviews, what I read is how those business owners responded to that one.
Yeah,
Did they respond at all? Those are the ones you
true.
really need to address because I want to know how you treat your customers, right? And it is not the time to get into a back and forth and no, that's not what happened and try to go at it with
Yep.
the customer because they're your potential customers. They're watching. right? And that's really, it's not the fives, it's not the 5 stars, that they're really, like you said, it's really the ones. And how did you address it? Okay, something happened. And it
Yeah.
doesn't even matter if the customer is lying or it's their fault. How did you address it, right? And we really talk about that with with our clients, is that skill. It's really kind of a skill, right? Because first you got to overcome the ego part and
Yes.
the hurt
It's
feelings,
hard.
and whether or not they were lying or not, irrelevant. Take that off the table. Now, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to address it? And how are you going to demonstrate to your potential customer that, hey, regardless of what happens here, we're going to take care of you. We're going to have your best interests at heart, and we're going to resolve the situation.
No, I think that's right. Right. I think the idea of arguing with people online, right,
Mm-hmm.
is that analogy, or that I forgot what they call it, illustration of like,
Yep.
don't argue with people because people from a distance can't tell who's right, who's wrong,
Right, right.
right. So
And it's
all you're doing,
permanent, right?
exactly.
It's going to be there forever, right? So, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
So so what's next for you? Like I know we're gonna talk a little bit about your book later, but
Mm-hmm.
in the customer service world, what do you feel is one of the best ways to transfer that skill of customer service from who knows how to do it well to those who
Mm-hmm.
don't?
Yeah. So I think the best way is to really, put a plan together for your business, right? And you transfer it by first understanding that client, potential client, understanding the journey that they're going to go through, and then, like I said, almost like reverse engineer or put in place systems or processes, or it could even be something simple, things like checklists or whatever, but give your employees the tools, right, and the training so that they know what to do. Because that as a business owner, it's not about the CEO or senior managers, right? It's about the people on the ground having the tools at the ready, at hand. So when they interact with a customer, they're empowered, right?
Yeah.
They know what to do. They know if something goes wrong. Here's what I can do for this customer, but empowering those employees so that they have all that at their fingertips, so that and that it's natural, right? And getting to them to have the buy-in, um of it being a part of, not just the it's not just a company thing, or and see the value in it for them as an individual, as an employee, the value that customer service and that interaction to the customer has for them as an employee. So I think that's really, really part of it, and putting it in, setting it in stone, making it a practice, making it something that is done on the regular, and giving people incentives when both the carrot and the stick, right? When they don't do it right, well, we know how to deal with that. But when they do it right, and focus on
Yes.
catching people doing the right thing and rewarding them appropriately. So all those things come into play to really, have that in place.
So one of the things that I practice at Primus, and one of the things I talk to people about all the time,
Hmm.
everyone knows everyone has their mission statement, you have their vision statement, right?
Hmm.
The question of what does your vision statement say that incorporates how you deal with clients, and how many times do you repeat that vision statement to your employees, so that way it's like kind of like ingraining it in them that this is important, right?
Yes.
Because just
Yeah.
saying it once a year
Yep.
doesn't mean it's important to you. It means it's something that I put on paper.
Yep.
But actually manifesting it on a regular basis, every staff meeting, talk about the importance of your vision statement, talk about the importance of client services, how professionalism we come off, how we interact with everyone, helps really build that kind of ingrainedness of transferring that thing. Because one, I think employees will realize if you keep saying it, it's
Hmm.
important to you, right?
Yes.
If you say it once, then they're going to forget about it tomorrow and never think about it again. But you keep
Yep.
saying it over and over, they're going to know that it's important to you. So keep repeating that this is an important part of our company. And also, I
Yeah.
think there's a connotation of teach versus train, right?
Hmm.
And this is where it gets a little hard for me in developing systems for my own company and my own team. Is I can put this down in writing, right? You have your employee manual, you have your financial manual.
Yep.
Here's a customer service manual. Here's your interaction with clients manual. Here's operations manual.
Yep. Yep.
Putting it in writing also doesn't give the same connotation of them seeing you interact,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So bringing people to meetings with me so they see how I talk to my clients. The same way any business owner should be on the floor every once in a while so people can see how they're interacting with each other, how they're interacting with staff. Because customer service, to me, is not just me to my customer, right? My staff are, in a way, people I need to teach and train and treat in a
Yes.
certain way.
Your
My clients are really
internal customers, right? Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So those kind of things are important of how you manifest it within
Yeah.
your organization, how you make sure it becomes like a viral thing and grows to everyone who comes inside your company.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. And it's so many. You gotta. It's not about what you say, right? It's about what you do and demonstrate. And so as a leader, them seeing you, you know, not just having things on your logo or written, whatever, but you actually demonstrating it. And then the other piece too is the metrics.
Yes.
Are you putting your money where your mouth is, right? Are you are you providing those incentives for them doing the right thing? And like I said, do you have the process in place that how to correct them and help them? And are you tying it, and listen, are you maybe even tying it to their compensation,
Yeah.
somehow, so that those customer service metrics in the business are linked to those employees so they could see, because it's all about what's in it for me, right?
Yes.
And that's what they want to know, and if you can tie it to them, then that's all the better, because they can focus on that and ensure that they deliver customer service for every client.
No, absolutely. I think in close, I think one of the things I always think about is and how you tie this to every business, right?
Hmm.
Repeat customers,
Hmm.
long
Yes.
lasting customers
Yes.
are much more um, profitable to your bottom line
Yep.
than new customers every time.
Yep.
So if you build up a really great interaction, build that brand loyalty, build that that they need you situation
Yeah.
in their company, then you will have that kind of long lasting, retainer based, consistently buying from you customers that you need to be successful in your small business.
Yeah, I mean, quickly, the money we set aside our marketing budget, right? We have all this, set aside. But if you take a small percentage of that and maybe focus on retention, right? Not just getting a one, because it's not about getting a one-time customer.
Yeah,
It's about that customer who is a customer today, and you look at that customer lifetime value for a customer
correct.
that
Yes.
sticks around with you for 5 years, 10 years, and the amount of people that they're going to have told about you as well. Sometimes it's hard to quantify. We don't do the work to add up those dollars, but it's really significant, if we're able to do that.
Chris, this was a great conversation, man. I appreciate you coming on the show and talking to us a little more customer service. I would love to have you back in the future. We can keep going and really put these information out there so business owners could really understand how important this is to the longevity and the success of their businesses.
This show is brought to you by Julo.shop. Experience more than just shopping at Julo.shop. It's a celebration of amazing products from Black-owned brands. Our product partners are like you and me. They had a vision, and now they're a part of the Julo family. We promise to bring you quality, convenience, and the selection that you deserve. Discover, experience, and enjoy something new at Julo.shop today. Visit www.julo.shop.
Without any further ado, Chris, I'm excited to learn more about the work you do as a customer service consultant and the invaluable resources you offer that include your book, Customer Satisfaction. It's not just the promise, it's your business and your e-learning course, Essential Customer Service Skills for Every Employee. So let's get into it. Chris, so tell us a little bit about the history of why you decided to become a consultant in the customer service field.
Yeah, so we went through my background before, right? Engineering background, mindset, and that just ingrains in you a certain way of thinking, right? And when you couple that with, listen, I'm a proud Jamaican, right, West Indian, and you touched on it before. I am very perturbed by some of the images of Jamaican-owned businesses and the reputation that we've gained, and I personally experienced it, right? And I think what's really bothered me is that I really feel we have such rich culture. It's so much to offer the world. And But from a business standpoint, that's sometimes hampered by, you know, lack of customer service is a big piece of that. And,
Yes.
so it kind of really struck me, and we talk about transferable skills, right? Well, one of my transferable skills is being able to break stuff down, get to the root cause of the issue, and then trying to, reverse engineer it. So that's kind of the thought process that went into, the drive for me wanting to help to, and it started out with West Indian, restaurants and so on, but it's much, much, much bigger than that, and wanted to really help to reverse that reputation that small businesses, whether it's Jamaican, black owned, and all businesses really, right, but reverse that whole concept about customer service, and try to show that there is a way to be able to actually guarantee the satisfaction of your customers, just kind of looking at it and reverse engineering it. So that was the
Nice.
impetus for me to kind of get started.
So you've authored the book Customer Satisfaction. It's not just the promise; it's your business. Walk us through the process behind the book, its title, and what makes it content so unique.
Yeah, it's funny. So I actually, when this kind of idea hit me, and the way I started out was I started out with a mind map, right? So I actually sat down and, thought about, mind map, process map, which is really what I do if I got a chance to work with someone, is I want to see and understand how their business works, right? And so actually walking with them either physically or virtually through their businesses and their processes and the interactions that their customer has, and trying to understand where those issues are. So really that's really the start, is coming up with. So in the book I outlined these nine areas that I feel that if you're able to control and have a solid process around these nine areas in your business, that you will be able to guarantee, and I know it's a strong word, but being able to guarantee the satisfaction of every customer. I didn't say every customer is going to always be happy with you, but at the end of the day, they'll be satisfied with the overall experience that they had if you're able to walk through those nine steps.
Okay. So what does business owners gain from interacting or using the principles and guidance that you have in your book?
Yeah. I think what and the bottom line is they'll have a business that's thriving, because when you have customer service and when you have customers that are happy and they're referring, they're recommending, right? The bottom line is, right, growing your business and having that sustainable revenue. We all know they say that half of the businesses within their first year, small businesses are going to go out of business, and
Yep.
within, I think, 10 years, about 80%, right? So one of the biggest fears of small business owners, we spend all of our energies and our money raising capital and all this blood, sweat, and tears to get that business, in the fear of it possibly going out of business. I think this is one piece, customer satisfaction, that you can lock down, that if you have that systematic way, you can eliminate that off the table from being a potential cause for going out of business.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. Not only do you have a book, you also have an e-learning course that business owners can buy to train their frontline workers.
Yeah.
What does the training accomplish, and how does it accomplish it?
Yeah. So what I do in the training is I go through, and it's employee focused, right? So I want to make sure that the employees understand their vested interest in understanding customer service skills, right? And I want them to recognize that this is a skill that now, once they get it, right, they could take with them anywhere. We actually provide a certificate at the end of the course,
Nice.
so that we give to them as the employee, and it's theirs when you go to your next job or whatever. You can show, hey, I invested time in learning customer service skills, and whether it's your next job or even as you start your next business, right, you're versed in at least the introductory things and the basics of being able to have that customer focused mindset, and be able to really serve the customers, serve the business, but also as an employee serve yourself, right,
Yes.
and help for the longevity of your job, right? Because that's going to help the business's revenue and longevity as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So many businesses struggle with measuring the effectiveness of the customer service offers, right? Could you discuss some key performance metrics that will help us really create value around that?
Yeah, yeah. Um, part of that is you really need to, the data. We have so much data at our fingertips right now, right? We know which employees are interacting with our customers, right? We have customer complaints coming in. We have positive reviews, right? And being able to tie that to individual employees and make it a part of their metrics and make it even part of their compensation and reward them. It's not only about the stick, right? And but also rewarding those those employees that are following the script, right? Following the plan, and highlighting them, right?
Yeah,
Highlighting them and driving and demonstrating as the owner that you really believe in what you're talking about in terms of customer service, and you're putting your money where your mouth is, as I always say.
absolutely. Last and certainly not least, please let our listeners know how they can order your book and get access to the expertise through your training course.
Yeah. The best way is to go to my website, bryanservicecompanies.com. There you could get access to the book. The book is also at customer satisfaction book.com as well. But if you go to the main website, you could get to my book. I also have a free ebook as well. So you can understand what are the top 5 killers to customer satisfaction. And you could purchase the book as well there, and or in consulting if you're looking to go a little deeper. If you're looking to get some help with developing that customer satisfaction plan or getting an unbiased view. Sometimes it's very difficult for us to see our own, when we're in the middle of it, but to
Yes.
get that outside person to come in with unbiased eyes and walk through your business, understand it, and now apply the principles to it. We can also do that through our consulting work as well.
Awesome. Chris, again, thank you. This was definitely a very enlightening conversation just to get to learn more about your book and about the course. I think it'll be very valuable for a lot of people to really look at your website and gain some information, because customer service, as we said over and over again, is an important aspect and not just a minute speck on the
Yes.
business category. So thanks again for being on the show, and we look forward to talking to you again in the future.
Yes. Thank you.
We sincerely appreciate you being a part of Right on the Money. Among the multitude of podcasts available, we're truly honored that you've chosen to listen to ours. If you or someone you know would bring valuable insights as a guest on our show, we invite you to access the guest request form linked in our show notes. We're always excited to connect with remarkable individuals. Remember, you have the power to share the gift of high-level business advice with the CEOs in your life. By spreading the word about our podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, you help us reach a broader audience and create a more significant impact. Stay inspired, keep growing, and join us again next time for more insightful discussions.